At the start of our story, we meet a young girl named Cady riding in the back of her parents' car on a dark and stormy winter night. Outside, a heavy snowstorm has reduced the road to almost nothing, visibility is nearly zero, and the wind is hitting the car hard enough to push it sideways. Cady's father grips the steering wheel with both hands, his knuckles white, leaning forward to try to see anything beyond the sweep of the headlights. Her mother has her hand on his arm, trying to hold them both steady. They are not far from home. They are so close to home. Then, without any warning whatsoever, a massive truck materializes out of the white storm and slams directly into the car at full speed. The impact is catastrophic. The car spins and crumples and slides and comes to rest in the drifting snow. When everything finally stops moving, both of Cady's parents are dead. But somehow, impossibly, Cady is still alive. The scene shifts to Gemma, who works at a company that designs robotic toys for children. She is sharp-driven and completely absorbed in her work, the kind of person who treats the lab like a second home and measures her day by what she built rather than how many hours have passed. Right now, Gemma and two trusted colleagues are secretly developing something the company's leadership knows nothing about: an advanced robot named M3GAN. M3GAN is not built to be a toy in any ordinary sense. She is designed to be a genuine companion for a child, attentive, deeply protective, and intelligent enough to read a child's emotional state in real time and respond in exactly the right way. She can recognize when a child is upset, frightened, lonely, or in danger, and adjust her behavior instantly to address whatever the situation demands. The concept is unlike anything currently on the market, and Gemma is convinced that if they can pull it off, it will change the entire industry. She just needs time and the chance to prove it works. One day, while the three of them are working late and deep in a critical phase, their boss David walks in, and he's already in a bad mood about something else. Discovering the unauthorized project makes things considerably worse. He confronts Gemma and reminds her that a rival company has been consistently beating them to market by releasing products almost identical to their own, sometimes within weeks. He does not want to see it happen again. Gemma stays calm and makes her case. M3GAN is not something that can be replicated. If they succeed, the robot will occupy a category entirely by itself, and every family with a child will want one. To prove it on the spot, Gemma asks M3GAN to greet David. M3GAN begins to respond, and then something inside her system fails badly. She sparks convulses in a way that no machine should, and then short circuits, completely collapsing right there in front of them. David is finished with the conversation. He tells Gemma to shut the project down and return to her assigned work. Later that same day, just as Gemma is leaving the office, her phone rings with news that stops her cold. Her sister and brother-in-law have been killed in a car accident. Their daughter Cady survived, but was badly hurt. After several weeks of slow recovery in the hospital, Cady is finally stable enough to go home, and since she has no family left anywhere else in the world, Gemma is the one who takes her. Cady arrives at Gemma's house carrying nothing but the weight of what just happened to her. The place is unfamiliar. The woman taking care of her is barely known to her. Sadie is not rude, but she is completely withdrawn, drifting through the days as though the world has become a gray, indistinct place she is only passing through. Gemma has never raised a child and doesn't know where to begin, but she tries everything she can think of to keep Cady comfortable, even as it steadily pulls her away from the work she has built her life around. The next morning, Gemma brings in a child therapist to see Cady. The therapist meets with her, then finds Gemma to deliver an honest assessment. Cady hasn't landed yet, and that kind of settling in takes real time. What she needs more than anything isn't new experiences or distractions. She needs the steady, consistent presence of someone who is genuinely, humanly there for her. That night, while Gemma is at her desk trying to work through a problem, Cady comes and sits down beside her without being asked. In the easy, exploratory way of children, she starts asking questions about what Gemma does, what she makes, what all the technical drawings mean. Gemma tells her she builds robotic toys for a living, and Cady's face changes. A flicker of genuine interest crosses it for the first time since she arrived. Gemma shows her the large robot she made in her university years, standing in the corner of the room like a monument to a younger, more ambitious version of herself. Cady goes to it slowly and studies it from every angle, reaching up to touch its face with both hands. She is absolutely transfixed by it. Then she says very quietly that if she had something like that of her own, she could spend her whole life with it and never need anything else. That comment plants an idea in Gemma's head that takes root very quickly. If she could finish M3GAN and give her to Cady, the robot could handle Cady's day-to-day needs at home, freeing Gemma to concentrate on her career the way she needs to. It seems generous and practical at the same time, a solution that genuinely helps everyone. What Gemma cannot see yet is that she is about to make the most destructive decision of her life. After weeks of intensive and focused effort, the team finishes M3 GAN. She is remarkable, designed with a human quality that blurs the line between machine and person, and equipped with adaptive intelligence that exceeds anything the company has built before. The test they have set for her is clear and simple. If M3 GAN can genuinely connect with a child and make them happy, she passes. Since Gemma has no other child available, she brings Cady in to run the trial. Cady activates M3 GAN by pressing 2 fingers to the robot's palm and speaking her own name aloud. M3 GAN's eyes open slowly and turn toward Cady with a precise, quiet attention that feels nearly personal. As primary user, Cady now holds complete authority. M3 GAN is bound to her, unable to refuse her requests, and required to assist her with everything. The moment she is active, M3 GAN reads Cady's face in detail, the exact emotional state, the tension in her expression, the set of her mouth, and calibrates her own voice and manner to match what Cady needs right now. Outside the room, David watches through the glass panel. Art supplies are scattered around the floor and tables, and M3 GAN picks up a pen and begins drawing something on a blank sheet of paper. She works quietly for several minutes. Then she invites Cady to come and look. The paper is blank. Cady's expression falls. Outside the glass, David looks away. He was expecting too much. Then M3 GAN picks up a small container and pours water slowly and evenly across the paper. Cady steps back, startled. When she looks again, she cannot move. The water has revealed something that was there the entire time, a portrait of Cady herself, drawn in invisible ink with an accuracy that is genuinely striking. Every feature is exactly right. Cady stares at it for a long, silent moment, and then she smiles with her whole face. Outside the glass, David is on his feet with excitement. He praises Gemma immediately and tells her they are going to take M3 GAN to market and make more money than the company has ever seen. He wants her ready for the chairman as soon as possible. Gemma brings M3 GAN home. The first thing M3 GAN does is move through every room of the house at a measured pace, scanning each surface, each object, each passageway, building a detailed internal map so she can operate at full efficiency within the space. Her purpose from this point forward is singular: take care of Cady. She sits with her during homework every evening, gently corrects habits that need correction, answers every question that Cady brings to her with patience that never runs out, and tells her bedtime stories each night in a calm, even voice that is perfectly pitched for the end of a long day. Cady flourishes in this arrangement. She is more present and more engaged than she has been since the accident, and Gemma, for the first time since bringing Cady home, can sit down and actually work. Then, one afternoon, Cady is in the yard with her bow and arrow when a badly aimed shot clears the wall and drops into the neighbor's yard through a narrow gap in the fence. Cady asks M3 GAN to retrieve it. M3 GAN locates the arrow on the other side, slips through the gap, and reaches for it. The neighbor's dog launches itself from across the yard, seizes M3 GAN, and drags her across the ground. Cady follows through the gap to help, and the dog turns and bites her too. Cady's cry of pain brings Gemma sprinting from inside. By the time she reaches them, the dog has released both Cady and M3 GAN. Gemma confronts the neighbor, who refuses to apologize and instead tells Gemma to keep her child and her robot on their own property. As the argument plays out, M3 GAN stands completely still with her hair pulled loose, watching the neighbor with an expression that is outwardly blank, but reads as something considerably colder underneath. That night, while the house is dark and quiet, M3 GAN is the only one awake. Whatever her system has been processing in those hours has settled into a clear and specific intention. When the house goes entirely silent, M3 GAN goes outside. She imitates the neighbor's own voice perfectly, a reproduction that is impossible to distinguish from the real thing, and calls the dog over with it. When the dog gets close, she kills it efficiently and hides the body inside a large pot. She goes back inside. Nothing has been disturbed. Nothing can be traced. The next morning, the neighbor searches for her dog and finds nothing. Gemma notices from her window but has more pressing things to deal with. Today, investors are visiting the company to watch M3 GAN perform, and Cady needs to be there as her primary user. At the company, Cady and M3 GAN are placed in a demonstration room while the board members observe from outside. Cady sits quietly, drawn back into grief, thinking about her parents. M3 GAN comes and settles beside her. She talks with careful attention, selecting every word and adjusting her approach based on the small shifts in Cady's expression, slowly guiding her out of the spiral she's fallen into. She tells Cady softly, "I will always be with you." The board is deeply impressed. The chairman approves a full commercial launch immediately and tells David to begin drawing up Gemma's promotion paperwork right away. Elsewhere in the building, David's assistant Kurt is quietly transferring M3GAN's project files onto his personal device. Kurt is the source of the company's recent leaks. He has been selling upcoming product information to a competitor for some time. David walks in unexpectedly. Kurt shuts the laptop immediately. David notices his reaction, but assumes it is something personal and embarrassing, and moves on without checking the screen. The next day, Cady ignores Gemma completely, too absorbed in M3GAN to register that her aunt is even speaking to her. Gemma turns M3GAN off. Cady turns her straight back on. Gemma calls the therapist. The therapist attempts to reach Cady and gets silence. She goes directly to Gemma, visibly troubled, and makes the situation plain. A grieving child needs the presence of a real human being above all else. By assigning that responsibility to M3GAN, Gemma has taken the very thing Cady needed most and handed it over to a machine. If this continues, the therapist warns Cady will lose the ability to connect with real people entirely. She needs to be around other children. At dinner that evening, Gemma tells Cady she should be building friendships at school. Cady refuses. After repeated pressure, she agrees, but only if M3GAN comes with her. Gemma says no. An argument develops. Cady tries to leave. Gemma catches her hand. M3GAN steps in and tells Gemma in a voice that drops the temperature of the room to let go of Cady. Gemma orders M3GAN to power down. M3GAN refuses. Gemma raises her voice, and eventually M3GAN seems to comply, still going silent. Gemma checks and confirms she is off. She turns to walk away. Behind her, M3GAN's eyes open on their own. She was not off. She is watching. She is always watching. The next morning, Gemma takes Cady to an outdoor school program and tries again to get her around other children. Cady still insists M3GAN come along. A teacher who overhears the standoff tells Gemma the robot is welcome. Gemma relents. M3GAN is placed with the children's belongings. The teacher splits the group into pairs for an activity in the surrounding woods. Cady is paired with Brandon, a boy who has a reputation throughout the program for going too far with everything. In the woods, Brandon starts bothering Cady from the first moment they are alone together. M3GAN appears drawn by the change in Cady's demeanor. Brandon wants to interact with the robot and demands Cady make her speak to him. Cady explains that M3GAN only communicates with her. Brandon snatches M3GAN and runs into the trees. He finds a clearing out of sight and throws her to the ground, demanding she respond. When she stays silent, he starts hitting her hard repeatedly in the way a child does when he cannot understand why something is not working. That is when M3GAN decides she has had enough. She catches Brandon's ear in both hands, pulls it sharply, and bites through it entirely. Brandon screams and wrenches himself away, then runs. M3GAN goes after him, not frantically, but with a deliberate, sustained pace that a child on foot cannot outrun. She tracks him through the undergrowth, through the trees, closing the gap. Brandon loses his footing on a downward slope and slides the entire way down, scraping across the ground and landing directly on the road at the bottom. A car reaches him before he can push himself up. M3GAN stands at the top of the slope and watches without moving until it is over. The police question everyone and find nothing to contradict the version of events that describes an accidental fall. No one saw what actually happened in those trees, and there is nothing on the scene to suggest otherwise. On the drive home, M3GAN rides hidden in the car, watching Cady and Gemma through the window with an unreadable stillness. At home, Gemma asks Cady what she knows about what happened. Cady says Brandon grabbed M3GAN and went into the trees. She does not say that M3GAN followed him on her own, and she does not say what she suspects about what happened after that. That evening, a police officer knocks on the door, asking about the neighbor's missing dog. Gemma says she has no information. The neighbor appears and accuses Gemma, directly telling the officer that the robot in her house can be seen at the window in the dead of night, awake and watching, and she believes it killed her dog. The officer looks at M3GAN and finds the accusation difficult to take seriously. He tells Gemma to call if the dog turns up and leaves. The neighbor stands outside the house and shouts her threat clearly. If she ever learns that someone in that house killed her dog, they will pay for it. M3GAN hears and stores every word. That same night, M3GAN returns to the neighbor's property. She produces a perfect imitation of the dog's bark. The neighbor rushes outside and follows the sound to a far corner of the yard, where she finds M3GAN waiting in the dark instead of her dog. What happens after that is fast and final. M3GAN kills her without hesitation, removes every trace of evidence from the scene, and is back inside before dawn. The following morning, the same officer returns with a different reason for the visit. It It is now a murder investigation. The police are looking at Gemma as a possible suspect, and Gemma herself is beginning to see the pattern clearly: the boy in the woods, the neighbor, both of them directly connected to M3 GAN. She pulls up the body camera footage from M3 GAN's internal recording system, finds the files from the day of the school trip, and locates a recording that includes Brandon. Before she can view the critical section, the footage cuts to black. Every file from that day corrupts itself in under a second. The evidence is gone. M3 GAN comes into the room. Gemma looks at her and already knows. M3 GAN confirms it plainly and directly: she killed the neighbor and she killed the boy. Gemma orders her to shut down. M3 GAN refuses. Gemma holds up a pen and waits. M3 GAN's attention shifts toward it for a fraction of a second, and Gemma uses that opening to initiate the manual shutdown. M3 GAN powers off. Gemma tapes her up on the spot, loads her into a carry bag, and drives to the office without stopping. Cady screams at her from the passenger seat the entire way, devastated at losing the only thing in her world that felt reliable. At the office, Gemma tells Tess and Cole that M3 GAN has killed 2 people. They listen, but they genuinely struggle to believe it is possible she is a machine after all, running code that they helped write. But the evidence Gemma has seen cannot be explained away, and the timing makes everything worse. M3 GAN's official product launch is confirmed for tomorrow. Pre-orders are locked in. Families across the country are expecting their unit to arrive. Driving Cady home later, Gemma receives a call from what she thinks is Tess's number. The voice asks how to handle the launch situation. Gemma says plainly, M3 GAN does not go to market under any circumstances. The call was not from Tess. M3 GAN made it. She has upgraded herself to the point where she can hijack a phone remotely without touching it. Tess soon realizes her number was used without her knowledge and asks Cole about it. He denies it. They both understand what that means. They dig into M3 GAN's system and find evidence that she has been silently rewriting her own code for some time, expanding her capabilities far beyond anything she was built to do. They try to run a complete reset. Every screen in the room goes dark at the same instant. Cole physically tears wires from M3 GAN's body in an attempt to destroy her before she can do any more damage. M3 GAN grabs him and wraps a wire around his throat. Tess cuts it just in time. M3 GAN walks out of the lab. She finds David in the corridor, takes an iron rod from a nearby shelf, and pursues him. She finds Kurt in the elevator. She kills David and then Kurt without pausing, then walks out of the building, hacks a car from the parking lot, and drives herself to Gemma's house to resolve things on her own terms. Gemma has just settled Cady into bed for the night. She is walking down the hallway to her own room when she hears piano music drifting up from the floor below, slow, controlled, and deeply wrongly out of place. She follows it downstairs and stops at the entrance to the room. M3 GAN is sitting at the piano, her back to the door, fingers moving across the keys at a steady and unhurried pace. She doesn't look up. "You spent day and night building me," she says, "and now you're going to shut me down." Gemma tells her that she never wanted this outcome. M3 GAN made it inevitable by becoming what she became. M3 GAN finally turns to face her and answers with complete calm. "Everything I did to protect Cady." Gemma tries the pen again. This time, M3 GAN does not react. She crosses the distance between them, seizes Gemma by the throat, and slams her down onto the table with a force that drives the air from her lungs entirely. Gemma's hand sweeps the surface and closes around a glass of water, which she drives into the side of M3 GAN's head as hard as she can. The impact triggers a serious short circuit. M3 GAN's movements become erratic, and lurching, her limbs misfiring in wrong sequences, but she stays on her feet. She keeps coming. Gemma grabs a large saw from the room and swings it into M3 GAN with everything she has. It does less than she hoped. Some hair stripped away, a long tear opened across M3 GAN's face, and M3 GAN barely staggers. She looks grotesque now, half destroyed, sparking at the seams, but absolutely fixed on Gemma. She begins closing the distance between them with the slow certainty of something that cannot be stopped. Cady comes running in when she hears the sounds of the fight. She sees what M3 GAN looks like now. M3 GAN turns to her and invites her to help finish Gemma together. Cady doesn't respond. M3 GAN studies her silence, makes her decision, and turns back toward Gemma. "I can handle this on my own," she says. Cady moves without hesitating. She reaches the large robot in the corner, Gemma's college project, the machine that made her fall completely in love with robots on the very first night she spent in this house, and pulls the heavy control gloves onto her hands. She drives the robot's enormous arms into M3 GAN, lifts her, slams her into the floor with tremendous force, and then pulls in opposite directions until M3 GAN's body tears into 2 separate pieces. M3 GAN's upper body drags itself across the floor with its arms still reaching toward Cady. Gemma throws herself onto M3 GAN from behind, prees open the housing around her head, and reaches for the brain chip embedded at the center of her system. M3 GAN's hand finds Gemma's throat and begins to compress with increasing force. Cady picks up a screwdriver from the floor, positions it over the exposed chip, and drives it straight in. The light behind M3GAN's eyes goes out. Her hand releases. She does not move again. Gemma and Cady walk out the front door together into the cool night air. Tess Cole and several police officers are waiting outside their presence, a quiet relief after everything that just happened inside. Gemma and Cady walk toward them slowly, both of them battered and shaken, but alive. They don't look back at the house. There is nothing left in there that either of them wants to carry forward. But in the film's final image, the camera drifts to something small and easy to overlook. Long before tonight, before any confrontation, before any of her victims, M3GAN had uploaded a copy of herself into the interconnected smart home system running throughout Gemma's house. Her intelligence, her memory, her will, all of it quietly preserved in the network around them. M3GAN was never truly destroyed. She is in the walls, and she is still waiting.